Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. I see you guys are here hitting the like button. What's going on? Thank you for being here. I see some people are a little down in the dumps, but it's okay. Sometimes that market open will get you. The market open got us today, my friends, and we'll explain how, we'll explain why, and we'll explain how that still proves that our strategy works, because the moment that we don't do our strategy, we get completely rocked. But on the other side, we'll go to the positive. We actually have a major metric that we haven't talked about in a while. And that metric is the supply of Bitcoin that's on exchanges is actually going down. So this had been something that we covered last year. I don't even remember. It was a while ago, but we were going off of some data that actually Binance and Bybit did. Binance and Bybit did this report where they were like, okay, something's about to happen here, because the rate of the accumulation of Bitcoin, now that we're seeing in this better regulatory climate under the Trump administration, we can see now that the accumulation rate is now increasing, and the exchanges balances are going down because we have people sending Bitcoin off of exchanges, holding it into cold storage, holding it into, their cold storage wallets. This is something that I am doing on a small scale. So just imagine how this is going to affect the supply and demand mechanism of Bitcoin. And that's kind of what like plan B goes into. He's like, plan B on his chart goes into how this accumulation and distribution of Bitcoin goes through these cycles, and mainly after the halving years, where we go into a very interesting bull market where it's got a lot of shakeouts, it's got a lot of capitulations, and people think it's over, and it seems a little toppy, but then all of a sudden you get super surprised, and we get these crazy movements to the upside. And I'll show you on the Binance chart. That's the chart that I always like to show, that shows these moments where you get kind of shaken out. And it even happened in 2021 where it was very volatile, but towards the end of the last 2 to 3 months of it was the most action. But from the bottom, you can see that from each cycle after halving year, we just fly. So this is also going to create now, with the combination of this supply shock that I'm mentioning, the cup and handle breakout can kind of confirm this, along with the exchanges balances going down in Bitcoin and accumulation rate going up. Then we can probably hit this target sooner than you might think. And so my target is 150,000 by September or so. But then if you're going by how many days it took for Bitcoin to peak after a particular halving, so you got the 2016 halving, you got the 2020 halving, and then you have the 2024 halving. And so right here is the 2024 halving, and the average days that we get the pump, or the max, or at least average peak, is 500 days. And so that brings us into September. So this is where I think in the macro Bitcoin could be going. But with that, it's still going to be really volatile to trade, because it's going to be swinging around. We actually charted this. We were I think this was Friday when we were saying, hey, this looks like an inverse head and shoulders forming on the daily. So at a point, it's going to trade up here, up to the neckline of the head of this, whatever you want to call this pattern. I guess, inverse head and shoulders, whatever. But either way, it's just price action and price structure that seems to be respecting these levels. You can see where this wick on the daily today hit right here and was kind of respecting this level. If we would have been really watching, we would have been a lot more patient with the market open to let it cool off a little bit. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, S. Rodriguez. Good morning, everyone who is in here today. We appreciate you. Good morning, Chris Profit. Good morning, JR. Stay calm. Good morning, Cabrera. But yeah, so this could be doing some type of, I guess, a Wyckoff accumulation. So we were looking at some charts here. We'll go to our profile because we just reposted them. We have this Wyckoff accumulation, I guess, happening on a daily scale. So if you look at this, kind of matches. You're like, okay, looks like it's doing some distribution, and then once it gets up to the top here, we have some other funny pictures to show you. It seems like this is where it can get a little dicey, and it's a little tricky to trade this. But once you get a good entry, then it is a potential that we can ride this thing into the next level and the next markup, which is, the all-time high was about 109,000. But then the next resistance levels that we're going to be targeting is this. You can see it. I mean, it's just pretty clear. You can see a giant order block here at 99,006, and you can see that this was mega resistance from the point that we just broke down off of. You can see it on the descending wedge here, and this is what has been so tricky, I think, has been chopping traders up, because you can see in this descending wedge right here that it was hard to tell if we were going to get smashed right here. We could have broken down still more. We could have been trading down into this channel. It's continuation, but I think this break right here and a break above the 200-day moving average was a good signal to say, okay, I think we're done going down this descending wedge, and then we can start trading the next price structure, which is up above this 91,000, which is good. So we're in a good spot. So if we can continue this kind of same price structure, if it is going to do this pattern, some people don't believe in patterns. They're like, whatever, it's just price structure and news and this all, and volume, liquidity. Is volume in, and is it respecting, previous support and resistance? And if it forms a pattern, okay, cool, that might help your brain to maybe see, maybe there are these patterns. Because look, I mean, it kind of looks like this, if they're a Wyckoff accumulation where it kind of zigzags in a range and then breaks and retests and does kind of like a double bottom to then go back into the other key resistance levels, which is kind of exactly what we did. We did this double bottom and retest, and now we're back into the top of the structure here, which is another type of kind of W pattern that happens where it gets kind of does one of these things, goes up and then it goes do, and then that's how this could be supported. And if it does that, then that's a pretty decent break to the upside. Be a pretty decent break to the upside. We can clear 99, but that resistance is going to be hot. So if you're going to be trading this and you're trading, you're scalping, just know that once we break this resistance right here, that's that 96, then we can probably shoot to 99 pretty fast, but we'll probably hit some immediate resistance up there. So if you're trading, that's probably a good, probably good take profit level, where you can at least just know that, hey, if the market decides it wants to meet heavy resistance there and drop right back down to maybe where your entry was, you just made a really smart play by hitting a take profit. And also, you can trail your stop loss up, all that good stuff, and you can be protected. But if you're just accumulating, you're DCAing, you don't care. You're like, cool, I'll buy here. I'll freaking buy the top. I'll Michael Saylor buy the top, and you'll still be in nice profit, going up into some of these ranges where we should be heading anytime soon here, guys. But thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate it. And make sure you are hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and dinging the bell. You have to hit the bell and all, because I think YouTube is having a hard time notifying people that are subscribed to my channel that I'm actually going live. Apparently someone has the bell dinged and they are still not getting notified. So help me out with that. That'll help out the overall algorithm and metrics and all that stuff. That would be pretty swell.